Oh my God, why? The first line is, I love you, Jack, and don't do that. Don't say your goodbyes. Not yet. Do you understand me? Listen, Rose, you're going to get out of here. You're going to go on. You're going to make lots of babies. You're going to watch them grow. You're going to die an old lady in your bed. Not here. Not this night. Not like this. Do you understand me? Then I blink very slowly. I just did it. You didn't even look. They don't know. Oh my God. Wow. A silent tension engulfs them both. I see people. Malcolm gazes quietly. I see dead people. Well, yeah, it's being on the radio. That's never not something that I really, really wanted for my whole life before this started happening, you know? And it's like, it's one of those things that you feel like those are the moments where I'm like, okay, like take this in, really, really experience this. 'Cause, you know, it's not going to happen forever. There's like a ribbon cutting situation happening. A ribbon for stuff or anything, really. Next year they're opening an exhibit, and essentially it's classrooms that are opening now, which are education spaces for lectures and classes and demonstrations and music lessons. And it's kind of like it's going to start the education portion of it now, and then next year is when there's going to be an exhibit. And so we're going to be planning the exhibit for the next year. But I think it was a priority for all of us to open the actual classrooms right now, which is really awesome. I respect her opinion. No, if they don't want to, then why should they have to? You know what I'm saying? You're putting it on other people. Well, this is just critical thinking, and yes. With my experience with like nice guys and not nice guys, the ones that are not nice are the ones who try to label themselves as a nice guy. I said that in conversation. You don't want to know what people say about you. I'm not asking you what people say about me, am I? No, because I don't want to know that. Yeah. So we seem to be, that's why I brought cookies, because I knew you were going to give me a hard time about that. I show up in your studio, which is sort of like tweeting you back, but times 50. Thank you. What do you mean? I mean, I can look at it, and I kind of have to, 'cause it's my Twitter, but you know, it's interesting because it's selective. Like you do want to see people like saying stuff like, oh, I'm listening to your song, like at Taylor Swift 13's song right now. But you like don't want to see some of the other stuff. Like, yeah, it's definitely a possibility for people to be kind of like juvenile and terrible. But so yeah, I see certain things and I have to like not see other things. So a lot of the time what I'll do is I'll the things that I don't see, I'll have people like watching it all the time for like really cool stuff that I missed because I was either sleeping or like whatever. And then I'll have them send me like mass emails and I'll read it all in the form of the email so that I don't have to read. That is so ineffective on his part. Yeah, that's 5'10". I mean, you know, like I've always been like the second or third tallest girl because there's always someone taller than you. I was 15 and that's when I went on radio tour. So now I'm 23. So I don't know why that was important. Yeah, I think I was just like kind of like going like, how long has it been since I've been in school? But yeah, I went to public school out in Hendersonville for 8th, 9th, and 10th grade. And I'm really glad that I went to school because it really shaped a lot of kind of, I think social dynamics of walking into a cafeteria and not knowing where you're going to sit is kind of like an important human experience. You're still in a metaphoric cafeteria. I mean, but that's kind of what most people do, right? Isn't that what most withdrawn these days? I can relate to that. No, that doesn't seem like it. The second thing you said, because that just seems the celebrity birdseed diet that like where like they just don't eat anything except for like. No, that's a joke.
Like frozen peas. Victoria Beckham was said to eat frozen peas, and that's it.
Well, if you heat them up, that doesn't really do anything to the calorie. I don't know. I don't really do that. It's a common sense thing, I think. You try to like have sort of a gauge on whether you've been healthy, but I don't really put many rules on it because I think that would like kind of cut my will to live in half, sort of. What did you do? He probably told on you. Probably got mad at you for that. What did you do on the I didn't get upset. Okay. I don't know what you're even talking about. Oh, okay. Well, I would say you personally, I would probably apply to the fact that we're both meteors. And I would be like, remember that joke we have? Remember that when you're voting. But I don't know, just generally the fact that we're on the radio, like I'm having a hard time figuring out like why everybody listening would want to. Especially not if I'm asking them to. Because that tends to be like the whole thing where if somebody asks you for something, you're like, well, I'm not going to give it to you now. I could be like, ooh, I could go through the, I could go from the like, oh, you should really vote for the girls in the category. And then they'll look and they'll be like, oh, that's she's the only girl in the category.
True.
Is that really true? Yes! Isn't that cool? Entertainer of the year? I mean, well, yeah, definitely. I want like a Polaroid camera. No, I want a refurbished old one. But I like that you have that. And then congratulations. For the clapping. It's going really well. How are you guys doing? I woke up at 6 in the morning. Get it right? You have already gone off script. It depends on what day in USA Today. Hey, nice to meet you. Yeah. Well, he was like being very complimentary of both of us. I feel like we should send him a thank you note. That's what I meant. Like one. But we both sign it and maybe like draw cartoons on it. That's so exciting. Well, I mean, everyone can draw. Like the quality of it is really kind of everyone else's opinion. I'm not like good at it, but I do draw on stuff all the time. I don't really have art in my house. I just have pictures of my friends and like my family, and I like to take pictures more than I like to draw. Oh, okay. If I had to pick one, it would probably be of me and T-Pain. Yeah. It's just like a really important moment to capture fashion-wise. We're sitting on stairs, like we're sitting on the steps, and I have like gold chains on and like a hat to the side, and like I'm basically kind of trying to emulate what he's wearing, which on me, he definitely pulls it off better than I do, but it was like, that was one of the funniest days of my life, I think. So that's one of my favorite pictures. My picture with James Taylor is one of my favorites. And then I have this picture of my dad in the studio listening to new music like a couple years ago, and it's black and white, and he's just got the biggest smile on his face, and that's kind of like the quintessential memory I have of my dad, of like just listening to new music and smiling. So that's one of my favorites too. Really influential. My parents are this amazing blend of kind of opposite personalities, and so it works out really well because my mom is the one who I know will tell me if I need to change something, or if she's kind of real with me all the time. And my dad just thinks everything's great all the time. So that's kind of nice. Like every time I walk off stage, he's like, "Oh, that was the best show. That was the best show." And it's really nice to get that like positive, just constant. He's just so excited about everything, which is nice. Oh, this is a skinny caramel latte situation. Why wouldn't you even try it just one time? Just like, oh, I think I'm gonna. Oh, I tried it now. Well, no, I haven't done that. No, I have done. Well, I'm not talking about that. I love coffee too. Coffee's like such a. I think it's less about the taste and it's more about. It becomes like a security blanket almost. No. Here's the thing with disguises. Like I am not the kind of person who could ever get away with committing any kind of crime, whether it be petty or anything. Like I would get arrested. Second, I can't wear disguises or else people will know. I can't like lie overtly about things or else like you will know. I'm not one of those people who can like, oh my God, go out incognito and nobody will find out. Like someone will find out, point and call me a loser for dressing up and trying to like be that girl. And I guess I've seen like in LA, sometimes this happens. You'll go into a restaurant and there's somebody dressed like, just like, too many layers of clothing, a hood, a hat, like hunched over. And you know, that's an actor trying not to look famous. Sometimes the disguise gives you away more than just like walking around being normal. And also people don't think that you're like, you have some weird social like issues to work out. No, it's not a normal situation going to Walmart for me, but I don't try to make it even weirder by like wearing a wig. Cause I've also worn wigs in my music videos. So people kind of know what that looks like too. There's no doing it. I just never try. Well, I mean, I can go out and I do go out. It's not like a normal situation. It's the most normal in Nashville because people know I've lived here for like 7-8 years now. So, it's the most normal here, and there's no paparazzi here, which is the best thing ever because, having every day documented kind of gives you a little bit of anxiety. But, I think it's important to go through normal activities. I really like normal activities. I really like hiking and going to the grocery store and doing my own shopping. I like malls. I'm not going to start like hating malls just because malls are like a kind of a social situation for me now, more so than they ever were. It's weird. I used to like go to the mall when I was a kid and there'd be like a group of girls and I'd be like, oh my God, I wish I was included in that group of girls. And now I go to the mall and it's like there's a group of girls and they're like running towards me. It's a different dynamic. They don't scream mean things at me, which is really nice. Or I just put headphones in or whatever. they're usually just like, are you having a good day today? And this is just so stressful, this whole interaction. So I do what I call kind of like the fear face, where I just kind of like, it looks like I'm just ignoring everybody and I have my head down, but I'm really just like terrified and trying not to trip and fall in front of people. That's not, because like, I think there are a lot of different ways you can approach this from like a mental perspective. When your life changes and all of a sudden everything you do is documented, good and bad, every opinion is like out there. And I think that you can either like put up all these walls and be like, I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm personally not capable of that because I am a songwriter. I have feelings. I write songs about my feelings. I have to be vulnerable in order to write songs about my life. So I can't like put up walls and not care what people think. So I have to not subject myself to things that are going to hurt my feelings. So I can't read magazines, or like Googling myself is like a terrifying idea for me. Sometimes I'm scared of newspapers. It's not weird. Like I don't run from them, but like I just don't really read stuff that isn't like an album review. Like I'll read an album review in the New York Times or Rolling Stone or something, but I'm not going to read like something that says that like I did something I didn't do, or like some angle on it that's twisted and weird, or trying to make it seem like it was wrong, or I just don't really have it in me to look at stuff like that. That was the longest answer to any question you've ever asked. I was obsessed with baking things with like pumpkin and cinnamon and stuff like last month, and now I'm onto like peppermint stuff. They're mint chocolate chip cookies, like the kind of like the ice cream you would get that's mint with chocolate chips. It's like that kind of cookie. They're green like the ice cream. Yeah, I made them yesterday. Yes, I made them for you. But the dynamic is that you both like each other, or do you like her and you're not sure if she likes you, or she like, okay, so you like each other. Do something to like candle it and like seclude it or anything, because you want to do something fun. Take her to a pumpkin patch or like a hayride or something. Is that happening here? Okay, then do that. Do something with coffee. Go get coffee and then take the coffee and go on a hayride or go to a pumpkin patch. Do we have corn mazes? Do we have things like, because you could get, go to, I know. What's that thing that we have here that with all the lights? Go to Cheekwood.
Writing songs is because I just have a lot of, constantly moving thoughts that kind of sometimes form lyrics, and I'll get like sort of a fragment of a melody and a fragment of a line that hit me at once. Or it'll just be a line, or it'll just be a hook, or it'll just be like a background vocal or something. And I'll just grab my phone and record it into some sort of recording app or something, and then I go back to it if it sticks with me, if I can't stop thinking about that particular idea. But, I like to do things to kind of stop writing and to stop overthinking. Like I'll just sit down and like watch TV and immerse myself in a TV show, or I'll try to bake to get my mind off of it, or, those are just things I like to do to relax and just like calm down. Everything's going to be okay. Thinking back on the 3 albums that I put out before Red, every one of them represents something different to me. Taking new chances, exploring new ideas. And I'd say for my last album, Speak Now, I wanted to challenge myself by bringing it kind of all down to one songwriter and one co-producer, and writing everything by myself. But for this album, I wanted a new challenge, because writing by myself had become a comfort zone. I then wanted to throw myself into the opposite end of the spectrum, which was I wanted to write with a lot of collaborators, and I wanted to work with new producers and try different sounds and really learn from as many of my heroes as I possibly could. I think with me, the topic of genre comes up a lot because I am influenced by so many different types of music, so many, and I listen to everything. I find goodness in every type of genre. I find something I love about every type of music. So that definitely gets factored into the kind of music I make. And touring all over the world, hearing what they're listening to in Brazil, hearing what they're listening to in Europe. It's like it can't help but seep into your subconscious and help you to challenge yourself and make something new. As far as what categories my music falls into, I kind of let other people make up their own mind about that, because for me, being put into one genre or another, if I had to pick one, I'd say, of course, it's country. But my music is also being played on pop stations and AC, and all this other wonderful stuff is happening. So I've been very lucky that I've been able to explore musically. I feel so lucky that my label just, listens to my new songs and says, "This is great. We'll just make the record you want to make." For me, one of my favorite things about collaborating with all these people like Max Martin and Johann Shellback and Dan Wilson, Jeff Basker, Butch Walker, it was a learning experience in so many ways to get to see these people make music, because I think it would just be really kind of naive for me to think that, everybody creates in the same way. Everybody has the same process. No, it's like not everybody does things the way that I do them, and I want to see how everyone else does it. I want to learn. I'm 22. I want to learn things. One of the collaborations on the album that I'm really excited about is a duet with Gary Lightbody from Snow Patrol, because Snow Patrol is one of my favorite bands. I love the way that they can sing about emotion, and the way that those guitars come in, and the way that the songs are so big and they're so epic. And it's a duet called The Last Time. And it's about the desperation of kind of the last legs of a relationship, where this guy has left his girlfriend over and over and then come back and begged for another chance, and she's given it to him. And this is a song about them both saying, "This is the last time I'm asking you this." I wouldn't want to say anything about all this because I wouldn't want to ruin the surprise. But I think I just would want to tell myself, sometimes you're gonna beat yourself up because you trust people, and sometimes that comes back to hurt you, but don't ever stop doing it. I think for me, theater is always going to be a huge element to what I want to portray live. For this tour that hopefully we'll get to go on for Red, I always want to top what we did last time. The Speak Now tour was something I'm always going to be so proud of that tour. It was something that made me feel like the crowd was getting the kind of spectacle that they deserved, and they were getting to see the songs in a way that showed them what I meant, and I think I really want this next tour to do the same thing in different ways. I don't want to have the same tricks over and over again. Like, I don't want, just because we had this, this one kind of trick happen, I don't want to keep doing that just because it worked on the last tour. I think for me, I've always been really intrigued by acting. I've always loved it as a form of storytelling. And I've been reading scripts for 5 years, and one thing that I always, try to focus on is this a story that needs to be told? Because I would only want to sign on to do a movie project if it was something that I felt like people needed to hear about. And maybe me being a part of it and helping to tell that story could bring awareness to something, or have people, my fans, go and see a story that they had no idea about. So, as far as, in the future, it's a really busy schedule, but if there was something worth doing, I would definitely do it. I think for me, getting to collaborate with Ed Sheeran was something I was just so excited about, because his music makes me so excited. It makes me so happy. It makes me feel like there's someone out there who can go into these arena performances and stand there with his guitar and captivate an audience. And to get to work with someone like that, who I feel like we got along in such a great way, because we're both used to writing songs on our own. And so you put two people like that in a room together, and it's really fun, because both people are really, pulling their weight. And his voice, I don't think I ever imagined how well the harmonies would mesh together of our two voices, but it just was such an amazing experience that he wanted to be a part of the album. And I can't wait for everyone to be aware of how great he is, because it's already started. Like, people are talking about him and his performance on the Olympics, but I'm really stoked about it getting even bigger and bigger. I think for making Red, I was really thinking about playing those shows in the UK, playing those shows over in Europe and Asia and Australia, and I think it really was on my mind, you know, those fans, and making something that they would like and something that my fans in America would like, and making something that would fit into the parts of their life where they need music the most, you know, and trying to look at the songs from an emotional perspective of which emotions are being sung about. Are we covering all the bases of when people are going to need...
Hey, Extra.
I think for me, the inspiration behind Red came from just wanting to experiment with my sound and wanting to write about all of the experiences I'd had in the last 2 years, and like in love and breakups and relationships and life and lessons, and wanting to do that in an exciting way for my fans that they hadn't heard before. It's been an intense couple of years. I definitely had a lot to write about, and one thing that I really wanted to make sure that I did was challenge myself as a writer. And so for me, this time around, that meant like collaborating with people I'd always wanted to work with, and going into the studio with writers I'd always dreamed of co-writing with, instead of writing the album by myself, which is what I did the last couple of times. Working with Ed was amazing because we became just immediate friends. Like, we write songs exactly the same way, we have the same process, like we just grab a guitar and make stuff up. And so I think writing with him was one of my favorite experiences on the album, because it ended up being a duet, and getting to have his voice on the record, I feel incredibly lucky because his voice is so perfect. I think for me it was really important to challenge myself artistically with this record, because I was on my 4th album and I'm 22, and I think that you should take chances in that scenario. I wanted to prove to my fans that I wasn't getting lazy. I wasn't like, oh, things have worked out great, you know, like all the records have sold really well, I think I can just make another one the same way. I wanted them to know that I was really racking my brain for every possible opportunity to show them something new. It's insane to see how fast this record has gone platinum in all these different countries. To see it go platinum in Australia and New Zealand and America, and to have it being kind of like, to see it spread all over the world in a new way than my music ever has before, makes me so proud of this record, and so grateful to the fans for liking the fact that we did something new this time around. I love it that the fans are so into knowing the lyrics. Like, it makes me so happy because those are from my life experiences, so I guess looking out into a crowd of thousands of people singing the words back to me makes me feel like I wasn't necessarily alone in feeling that way when I wrote the song. And it just kind of connects us in a way that's like, it's a really strong connection when you know that your fans are experiencing the same things that you did when you wrote that song. We've only announced the North American tour dates so far, so we definitely have plans to go tour in Europe and Asia and New Zealand and Australia. They just haven't been announced yet. It's really exciting to get to go to the ARIA Awards for the first time and to perform and to present, because I've always heard about this award show, but I'd never been. So I'm really excited about it. I can't wait. And to present an award to somebody else, it's just going to be that much more exciting. I'm really excited about Temper Trap. They're one of my favorite bands, so I'm really, really stoked about seeing them. I think that for me, one of the most important elements of me being happy is making sure that I don't read anything about myself, because it's crazy the stuff they make up about me. Like, they'll make up quotes, like things that I've apparently said that I didn't say, and that's stuff that you can't really change, the fact that that's all going on, so you just kind of like, you know the version of your life that you're living, and if you're happy in that, then that's all that's important. It doesn't matter like everybody else's take on it. I learned at like 19 or 20 to ignore that stuff. It was a really hard lesson to learn, because it's human nature to be curious about people's perception of you. Like, if you can just type your name in and push enter, and then all of a sudden you've got all this stuff, like all these articles about you that are like new ones every couple minutes, it's like a rabbit hole. Like, you'll get lost in it. And I don't think that it's a healthy thing to do, to know what people think of you like 5 minutes ago, according to this gossip blog. I think you just have to trust that after years and years of your fans like seeing how you are and knowing you, like they're gonna have your back, and that's what's important. I have a little time off coming up, so I'm really excited about that. And you know, it's a little bit of time off. I don't know what I'm gonna be doing yet, though, so I think that'll be fun to like figure it all out. I'm just kind of like living day by day. Christmas is a huge deal for me because I grew up on a Christmas tree farm, and I'm obsessed with winter. I love the idea of snow and baking and like all that. So I think for me, Christmas is just like something I look forward to all year round. It's a little weird to be like coming right up to Christmas and it's sunny and really hot outside. It's pretty intense. Like, because back in America, it's freezing cold and everybody's getting in the Christmas spirit. But it's kind of refreshing, you know? Like, I'm down here, I'm just like, oh, really? I'm just wearing a sundress. I think that my next album will probably come out maybe 2 or 3 years from now. I think that I have a lot to do to promote this record and to plan a tour around this album. I have so much to do. So I haven't really thought much about what the next album would be, but I hope it'll be something very different from this record so that I can always just like continue to grow and change in different ways. The fans are the only reason I get to do all this. You know, they're the reason I get to stand in, you know, on a really big stage instead of like the coffee houses I used to play at when I was 12. So I think that it's so important every single day to remind yourself like I'm not necessarily the only reason that record went platinum. The fact that like millions of fans went out and bought the record is why it went platinum. Like you have to kind of like check yourself in your mind. Like you can't start thinking that you're the only reason this stuff is happening to you. There's a lot of pressure to be a good role model and to do the right thing. A lot of that is pressure I put on myself because at the end of the day, I just really want to live a good life. Like, I hope that someday I have grandkids who will be able to look back and see what my life was like, and I hope they would be proud. I think that that's an important place to live your life from instead of being like, oh, there's so much pressure on me because little girls listen to my music, and like, I just think that, you know, my audience has gotten really diverse age-wise. I look out into the crowd and I see people of all ages. So you have to just kind of make your choices based on the way that you want to live your life, legacy-wise, like life-wise, rather than putting all that pressure on yourself.
I'm great. I'm about to go on stage. This is just crazy. I'm wearing black high-waisted shorts and a white Oxford shirt. I haven't actually. I think stick to the things that people know. So I might go back in time a little bit and maybe play Love Story. Some stuff off this record. Definitely going to do We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together. Things like that. I mean, Ellie Goulding's one of my friends, and I love her, and I think she's incredible. Who else was on? I got here and it was like we were rushed away to something. I think for me, like, we're in the middle of the US tour right now, and we just kind of took a break, like one day to be here, just because playing Wembley Stadium is a lifetime dream for everybody, you know? And I think that my band and I and the dancers and everybody, when we walk out on stage, we're just gonna be probably taking a minute to like, it's been amazing. He's on tour with me in the US, and just, I think for both of us, being on tour together and being really close friends, it's the most fun experience you could ever have, because, you know, everybody's always really close on a tour, but if you start out and like you're already close, it just makes it like, it makes it less like work having your friends out there. And especially the fact that he's coming out for this was so nice of him, because he didn't have to fly all the way here just to join me for one song. But I don't know, I've kind of thought about this before, how he's a strange combination of being like an 8-year-old child and an 80-year-old, because he's like really hilarious and like plays with Legos and stuff, and then he also has the best advice you could ever ask for. So it's kind of the perfect combination of both ends of the spectrum age-wise. I stretch. It's really weird looking, yeah. And I warm up, and I have to do some sort of cardio before I go on stage. Not as I'm about to go on, but you have to like, it's more of like a breath control thing. Like you have to get used to like expanding your breathing capacity, and sing and move around and not. I have a feeling it's about to be my favorite in about 20 minutes when we go on stage. I think that's going to be my new favorite. Oh, there's a lot of rules. I don't know. I'm working on a new one that they have to be a good guy. Yeah, both. Yeah, I'm really young, so that's kind of a trademark characteristic of my age group. About any of it, you know, it's like, I think the more that I think I know, then something comes along to just like kind of show me that love is the great unknown. And that's why I write songs about it. I say that I am sort of a hopeless romantic. It's like I don't know. It's like I don't know what I want the end result to be. I don't know when I want to end up settling down or something like that. I don't know any of those things, but I do know that the idea of romance is kind of what makes me get out of bed in the morning. I write songs at any hour of the day. Sometimes you just have an accident happen, where you write a song and it just pops into your mind during a co-writing session. That's what happened with my single We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together.
Really?
It just happened. I think it's a really, really bold thing to say over and over again in a chorus. It's and it also kind of makes a breakup sound like a party. There are so many different ways a breakup can sound, but one of the ways is yes, celebration, we're done. When we go over to London and they're never, ever. Actually, Hayden's my neighbor in Nashville, and so we hang out, and the first time we hung out, she came up to me and she was like, I just need you to know my character is not based on you at all, and I just need you to know. And I was like, cool, awesome, nice to meet you. And then I watched the show and I thought she was so good because she's kind of vindictive and cute at the same. You love her and you're also scared of her. She's so good. Sweet disposition. Love Actually. Love Actually. There's this movie called About Last Night that Demi Moore and Rob Lowe were in, back in the 80s, and I don't know, they get back together, they break up and they spend all this time apart, and then in the end they get back together because they were really good together. I don't know, I like that idea. I don't know. I think maybe I write my own. The hardest thing is that you can't make a mistake or do one thing without it getting turned into a million other things. I'm 22, so that's kind of the age that most people are finding themselves and figuring things out and learning lessons the hard way. But I can't really learn lessons the hard way because if I make a mistake, it's news cycle for the next 6 months, Taylor made a mistake. So I guess I kind of live in fear of that. And that's you kind of live judged by a court of public opinion, which is kind of a tough thing about it, but the perks outweigh the bad thing. The best thing is knowing that when I put out a song, people are gonna hear it. I used to get really scared when I'd write a song when I was 12 and 13, I'm really proud of this and I'm afraid no one will ever hear it. So now knowing that if I write a song, I know that someday people will hear it.
I think with this album you can tell that I've been influenced by every possible corner of an iPod, with every kind of genre of music on it. I think that's how my friends and I are, and that's, I think, how a lot of my fans are too. We like every kind of music, and so our iPods are filled with rap, and then folk, and then singer-songwriter music, and then country, and then bluegrass, and then rock, and then straight up pop, and it's we'll listen to anything we think is good, and I think that really kind of infiltrated this record. I'm listening to so many things right now. I'm listening to, I listen to a lot of Ed Sheeran, and that's why I wanted him to collaborate with me on this record, and I'm so excited that he did because I'm really proud of the song that I ended up finishing with Ed. That the first idea that hit me was this part of the song. It ended up being on the record. It's called Everything Has Changed. And there's a part on the song that goes I just want to know you better, and I got that idea while I was riding in the car with my friend Claire, and she's talking about what are you singing? The next day I had demoed up the song with Ed, and she's like, that's what you were singing in the car. I'll be over there singing incoherent. Yeah, I mean, some of my songs are as if I was yelling at you, but I don't yell at you. That's the difference. I am not the kind of person who can scream at another person and let out their feelings in that way and go crazy and throw a tantrum and throw that or but I will try to say how I feel in a calm way and try to process it and make the best of the situation. I'm blindly optimistic. And then when I get out of the situation or the relationship or whatever I was in that was causing me that much confusion, the dust settles and I go to my own corner and I figure out how I actually felt about it. Sometimes I feel like I don't actually know how I feel until I write the song. I don't think there's such a thing as falling in love too easily or falling too fast or loving someone too soon or trusting someone too soon. I think that if that's just how you are, that's how you are. With certain people I'm not. Everybody's a case-by-case situation. I've never treated two relationships the same way. Because,
like some people will make you write songs, some people you can't write a song about them, and you're like dating them and you just wish you could write a song for them, and you can't for some reason. And then that person over there, you've written half your album about. It's like, and you don't understand it. I think that relationships are a lot like that in the sense that some people move you and some people don't. It's been great. I have had a lot to write about because I'm 22, and that's the time when you're absolutely all over the place and confused, and you know you're confused and you don't know where you're going, but you kind of do, and you're just like, but you have your friends that you can rely on, and it's okay to fall in love and learn lessons the hard way, and in my case, write songs about it. Yeah, I don't know how to have a normal relationship because I don't know. I try to act normal and love from a normal place and live a normal life, but there is sort of an abnormal magnifying glass, like telescope lens on everything that happens. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know how to do that correctly or anything. I don't really know that much about love, it turns out. I mean, like how to get cute guys? I don't know. I think that for me, one thing that there was a bit of advice that my brother gave me, and he's so smart. He got really wise all of a sudden. He's 2 years younger than me. And he, I would go to him and say, from a guy's perspective, what should I do here? I mean, I don't know what to do. There's this option, there's this option, there's this option. And he'd go, what do you want to do? Do that. Just do what you want to do, because he's like, this is a matter of love, and there are no rules when it comes to love. He's like, there are absolutely no rules. Do what you want to do. And I think that was the most liberating piece of advice that I've gotten, because it's the most unpredictable thing. You think it's one thing, it turns out to be another. It's like, there's trapdoors and all kinds of scary stuff and like caves, and it's gonna happen, and so you just have to do what you feel like doing. It's like going with your gut. Some of them like to write really long emails. No, I just put those on my album. Yeah, absolutely, and you were one of the first people to see it, so I'm glad that you like it. I never thought I can do this. I never really felt like you're a shoo-in. You're gonna kill that, easy. Can't do it. You're a loser. I'm in a room and I wake up and I have all these piles of clothes all over the floor, and I start cleaning them, and they start multiplying, and then they're on the ceiling and they're growing, then they're on the ceiling growing, and the ones over here are growing, and I can't clean them, and they keep multiplying. I don't know. I don't know, and that's another fear, and that's another nightmare. We can talk about that after. I just feel like there will be a time when I'll probably kind of step a little bit backwards from it a little bit, because I think that it's important to really live in the moment while you're here, but I also think it's important to know when it's time to walk off stage. The reason why I made this record the way that I made it, I just don't, I think my biggest fear is the criticism of, all her songs are starting to sound the same. It's like, I get it, like people are like, oh, you're winning a lot of awards, but when it's you and you've watched these award shows your whole life, and you're at the Grammys and they call your name, that freaks you out. Trust me. I'm sorry, like when I was watching those award shows when I was a kid and I'd see someone get up and be like, what? You just won a crazy award? That's insane. Like, aren't you excited? And I think people get excited about awards no matter what. They just don't show you. And I think they go home and they like lock themselves in their... So I don't really decide anything. It's like, it just happens. I just get really happy and excited when I win awards, because I just feel like that's something that's not going to happen to you forever, and it might not even happen to you ever again after this one time that they just called out your name, and so I just freak out, and I don't have any control over it, really. There have been a lot of boys lately in the audiences. It's been nice to see. Hey guys, what are you all doing? I've been writing the new album for 2 years, and I started writing it in 2010 and finished it in 2012, so those are some really important years of my life. I went through a lot, I learned a lot of lessons, and so to get to write about your life as it's happening to you, I really love that the fans want to know what's going on with me. The album Speak Now was a completely different project than the new album Red. There are so many differences in how it was made, why I made it, the reasons behind the songs. Speak Now was really about saying things that I had been either too shy or too scared to say in the past. And as you grow up, I think making that album and promoting that album taught me to be more bold about how I feel, what I think, and in incorporating that into my life, you end up in some intense, tumultuous conversations or relationships, and I think in living my life in a little bit more of a braver way, I got to experience the kind of life experiences that would inspire an album like Red. I collaborated a lot on this new album because I wanted to. I just felt like, as an artist, putting out your 4th album, you have 2 choices. You can stay the same or you can evolve. And I really wanted to bring in my influences, these people who I'm a huge fan of, and have them help shape this album. And so I felt so lucky that my favorite people in music wanted to be a part of this record. I'm inspired to write songs at any time of day, when I'm going through something or when the dust has settled and I'm over it. It can be anything. It can be, I'll just be doing dishes or something, or, in the middle of an interview, and I could get an idea in my head that just kind of sticks out as like, that could be a hook, that could be a pre-chorus, that's like a first line. Like, sometimes it's lyrical, sometimes it's got a fragment of melody attached to it. And the unpredictability of it is what makes me continue to fall in love with songwriting over and over again. When I'm writing songs, the only thing I'm thinking about is portraying that emotion as accurately as possible, so that if I were to play it for the person it's about, they would know it's about them and they would know exactly what I was talking about. And then I think about my fans and if that's going to help them with something they're going through in their life, if it's something they could relate to. And then I think about what it would be like to play it in an arena and how we would treat that and what the lighting would look like. And it's kind of the third thing I think about. I think for me, having a magnifying glass on my life has been a good thing, and kind of a difficult thing at times, because you feel like you literally just can't get away with anything sometimes. You're like, wow, if I make a mistake, it's going to be really loud. That's going to be everywhere. But it also helps to kind of shape your decision-making process. And because everything that I do is going to be documented and in computers forever, it makes me think about what the little kid in the front row would think, and what my grandchildren would think one day if I made this choice or that choice. I think it's kind of a good governing tool. It makes you more responsible for how you act.
Every time I hear that, every time somebody says something like that, I'm like, really? I was raised by 2 parents who raised me to never be presumptuous about success or winning, and they always would say you have to work for every single thing that you get. And, so every single time I've won an award or something like that, it's been like, I win it like it's the last time I'll ever win anything. I've always loved Shania Twain. She's amazing. And also, people like Tom Petty and Bruce Springsteen and U2 have been people that I've really looked up to for their longevity. Speak Now is an album that I wrote about the last 2 years of my life. And the last 2 years of my life have been eventful. There's been a lot to write about. There have been intense joy, intense pain, intense curveballs, lots of things to write songs about. And one of the things that I'm proud about this album is that I wrote it without any co-writers. Well, I'm single, so I guess that answers your question. Be happy with being single, and if somebody pops up in my way that I just can't possibly ignore, then you make an exception for that. I would love to sing my single Mine.
Can I play album cuts? Okay, I want to hear Nicki Minaj Super Bass. Very cool. Well, this is a song that is an album cut off of Nicki Minaj's album, and I've been listening to it on repeat, and I really freak my friends out because I can recite every single lyric to the rap. So this is Super Bass by Nicki Minaj. Excuse me, you're a hell of a guy. I mean, my, like Pelican Fly. I mean, you're so shy and I'm loving you, Ty. Well, I just rapped a cappella very badly.
The last 2 years of my life have been pretty eventful for me. And when something intensely emotionally impacts me, my only choice in dealing with that, my only option is to write a song about it. There is a tendency to want to get thick skin. There is a tendency to block out negative things because they really hurt.
But if I stop feeling pain, then I'm afraid that I will stop feeling immense excitement and epic celebration and happiness, which I can't stop feeling those things. So I feel everything, and I think that keeps me who I am. When I'm writing a song, I don't factor in millions of people who might possibly hear that song someday. It's a very one-on-one process. It's me and the ghost of whoever I'm writing the song about, and it's really very one-on-one. The only person that I'm thinking about when I'm writing that song is the person I'm trying to convey a message to. Whether or not I have contact with the people the songs are about, or whether or not I give them a heads up, hey, by the way, you better look out for track, blank. It depends on what my current relationship with them is. If it's on speaking terms, then maybe I'll give them a heads up, maybe. I've given everyone fair warning. This is my 3rd album, and I've never been shy about the fact that if you enter my life, you are basically willingly entering an album. From 18, 19 to 20, those are the years that this album is written about. You have all these themes that come into play. All of a sudden, you feel the need to apologize for something you did really, really wrong, something you handled wrong. And one of the themes of this album, lyrically, is that these all seem to be things that I am saying in full, that I wish I would have said in person, or when the moment was right, these things that occurred to me after the fact. And this is my opportunity to say how I feel before it's too late.
American tour right now, and we just took, a day to come here, and I've never even been in Wembley Stadium before. I read blogs a lot, actually, and I love Just Jared because you're really, really nice, and you're really positive, and I really appreciate that. And usually the people that comment, like the people that read your blog, are all really cool too, so that's been fun. I read, what other ones? Perez Hilton and Ocean Up, and I don't know, just whatever, I don't know. My dad gets Google alerts on me, and he'll send me one every once in a while, so it's just random stuff. But I really do love the fact that you've been so supportive and so nice to me, so thank you. I really like to write songs about relationships, and I like to write about boys, and I love to write about every aspect of love. I think that it's really fascinating to me how many angles there are to a breakup. There are so many different things that you can write about just one breakup, So I think that right now that's my favorite thing to write about. But also, when you're falling in love with someone, when you've just gone on the best date ever, and you write a song about it, I think capturing that moment in time is really important and really fun. And I just am very fascinated by the whole relationship thing. And so that's my favorite thing to write songs about. Going out on the Brad Paisley tour, that was a really notorious tour for pranking. Before I went out on the tour, I just knew that he pranked all his opening acts a lot towards the end of the tour. And so I was out on the road with Kelly Pickler and Brad, and we became best friends, Kelly and I, and we decided that we were going to start pranking him the first week. And so he had a brand new song out then called Ticks, and so Kelly and I ordered these huge, gigantic, full-body tick costumes and dressed up in them and ran out on stage during his performance of that song. And then we had the other opening act, Jack Ingram, come out dressed up like an insect killer guy with the mask and the spray gun and everything, and he proceeded to come out on stage and spray us and kill us. And it was great. It was really fun, and we have it on video, and that's definitely my favorite moment of the tour. I'd say Selena Gomez is definitely my best friend in the business. We talk all the time, almost every day, and she's just such a cool person because she's so real. And I don't know, a lot of times people get to a level where they're famous and people know them, people recognize them, and they become just less real. And Selena's so cool because she's got a great sense of humor. She's a real person. And so it's really awesome to have gotten to know her and have her in my life. The instrument that I write on most of the time is guitar. That's usually, I'll be sitting in my room and I'll get an idea for a song and I'll just grab my guitar and start ad-libbing. But I think when you write a song on piano, it gives you a different feel. I'm not the best piano player, but I do know chords and I do know how to play and write a song on piano. So it's it's really fun for me to get to switch that up every once in a while, and there are a few songs on the new record that I wrote on piano. I think my biggest splurge so far has been my tour bus. I'm really into, if I'm spending money, it's going to be putting it back into my career. I don't like to be extravagant any other place. But my tour bus is really important because I live there. I'm there more than I'm home. So I put a fireplace on my tour bus and a flip-down treadmill and a really comfortable bed, and it's just, I feel like I'm home whenever I'm on my tour bus. So I do not regret that splurge. Besides work, something I would get up early for. I'm really into breakfast now. I don't know why. I mean, I was never really a breakfast person before, but just recently I've come to realize that breakfast is awesome. So, I don't know, a breakfast date or something. Or if Grey's Anatomy was on at 6 a.m., I would get up every day and watch it, or every week. The last 3 ringtones on my cell phone have been It's Over by Jesse McCartney, You're So Vain by Carly Simon, and Low by Kelly Clarkson. That's pretty depressing, right? My high school diploma was mailed to me, so I'm really excited because I didn't test out, I didn't get my GED, I actually went through the whole process of homeschooling, and it was pretty tough doing it on the road, but I made it a priority and got my diploma in the mail this summer. Very excited about it. I don't know if we haven't hung up yet because we haven't really had much time to hang anything up because, I don't know, it's weird. I walk into my room and it's like a time warp from when I was in 8th grade. I have no new pictures up. It's like all these pictures of me in junior high. It's pretty crazy. So hopefully we'll get some time this winter to hang up some pictures and hang up my diploma and things like that. I think 3 things that people don't really know about me are that, 1, I have really bad eyesight. So I have these huge glasses that I wear that are the ugliest pair of glasses you've ever seen in your life. But they were the ones in the glasses store that no one was going to buy. They were in the corner, they're all dusty, and I'm like, no one is going to buy those. They're so ugly. And so I had to buy them. So that's 1. 2 is that if I don't have coffee in the morning, I get a headache at night. 3 is that I like to paint. Whenever I have downtime, whenever I'm home, I'll turn off all the lights in my room and light candles and listen to music and paint. And usually send them to people, send them to radio programmers or things like that. But I like to paint.
Being young and getting to write your own material, it's not an easy feat. It's not an easy thing to prove that you can do in Nashville. But, it's you just keep working at it. And if people won't listen to you and they won't listen to your ideas and they have the whole, oh, you're just a little 15-year-old girl, what do you know, mentality, then you choose not to work with them. And, I parted ways with some big companies early on, and it's not ever the popular decision to do that. But when you're so focused on wanting to be able to write your own material, nothing else matters. I signed with a tiny little record label, just because I knew that they would let me write my own stuff, and it actually worked out. So it's been unbelievable, and I'm just so happy that the fans have been there for me and been able to, like the songs that I write. Breaking through in country is, it's interesting because you do so many free shows and you do radio tour. A lot of people think that, when you go on tour, it's this glamorous thing right off the bat. I remember when I was 16, I left school and started going on tour. And so everyone in my hometown was like, oh, Taylor's on tour, must be nice, but they didn't know that I was sleeping in the back of a rental car, being driven to 4 radio stations a day, performing for people in conference rooms, trying to get one station at a time to add my song. And, at night, I would be playing free shows in bars when I was 16, and I had one song on the radio, and I would be playing 90-minute shows. And, it was just me and my guitar out there doing acoustic tours for about a year before anything really started happening, before I got on a major tour. So you do a lot of work, but it seems to go by so fast because you feel like you're so lucky to get to actually do it. I love great songs. For me, I don't sit there and compartmentalize genres based on, what kind of genre I like, therefore I'll only listen to that type of song. From the time I was young, country music was always my favorite, and it seemed to speak to me louder than all the other genres of music, but I never stopped listening to pop music. I never stopped listening to rock music, and when I'm listening to the radio, if I hear an amazing melody, that becomes my new favorite song, whether it's by Shania Twain or Faith Hill or Kanye West or Fall Out Boy. It's like, I love great music, and so you incorporate different styles of music into different things that you do. Like, there's a thing that Fall Out Boy does, like with the syncopation of their words, where they'll talk really fast and the rhymes are really clever and it's very catchy, and it makes you think at the end of a line that they say, like, wow, that was a really cool play on words. And incorporating inspiration from places like that is really fun, just like it is getting inspiration from a traditional country song. So I'm always absorbing different types of music. I would be absolutely honored if you would steal my method. I write songs about boys. I write songs about love. I write songs about feelings, and I'm really fascinated by human emotion and how we treat each other. Just the interaction between people. It's like, I can see somebody from across a room, and that eye contact can last for 2 seconds, and then I'll write 3 songs about it. It's ridiculous how some small things will create songs that people think are from such a bigger relationship than they are. Sometimes my songs are really just about one discussion, or something smaller than what it seems to be. But for me, I'm so fascinated by how we treat each other that a lot of times I make it more dramatic in my songs, or make it more dynamic, and try to blow up what was one conversation into an entire situation. But all of my songs are derived from real life. Every single person I sing to or about is a real character in my life, and it's just easier for me to write songs, and be really brutally honest with it.
If I wasn't in country music, I would be some sort of writer, some sort of journalist or something like that, or I would be in criminal investigation or something like that. I love CSI. I'm so obsessed with it. And when something happens, like just a simple conversation or whatever, and I don't have a conclusion to it, I draw like all these different conclusions in my head and all these different ways that it could have gone. And, my mom and I call that paranoid thinking because we both do it, but I think that could really help in that line of work. I think that I'm going to stick to music because that's my passion. It's what I love doing. But, if I hadn't discovered music, I'm sure I would be doing something else that I would fall in love with, like, criminal investigation or something. But I think music is going to be it for me. With my free time, there's not a lot of it, but when I do have free time, when I'm not scheduled for interviews or anything like that, I hang out at my house and make playlists of sad songs on iTunes, and my best friend flew in from college this week, so I'll get to hang out with her, but usually she's not in town, so I'm by myself. And I'll call Kelly Pickler and we hang out, and I will go on MySpace. I go on MySpace a lot, and that takes up a lot of my free time. Like, I love to make videos and edit them together and put them up on my MySpace. So that's what I do a lot of the time. People in my CD player and iPod right now, it's always Tim McGraw, and Katy Perry and Jesse McCartney. I like his new album. One Republic, and I like to go song by song. Like, I love to, have a new favorite song of the minute. Like Paramore, they have a song called When It Rains that I have on repeat right now. Like, I'll go song by song, and those favorite songs of the minute are on my favorite songs playlist. My favorite television show is Grey's Anatomy all the way. That's my show. I couldn't live without it. I'm obsessed. And having a song on Grey's Anatomy was basically the best thing ever. I love Grey's Anatomy because I think it's the best example of dry, sarcastic humor I've ever seen, mixed with drama. Because in life, there's humor and there's drama. When you're watching comedies, it's like, that's awesome and it makes you laugh and it's light, but you know, when a breakup happens on a comedy and they're all just like laughing about it all the time and they don't ever feel it. Like, it's hard for me to buy that, because in real life, like, you laugh about some things but you cry about other things. So I think that Grey's Anatomy has a great balance of real emotions / dry humor. I think my request to anybody who becomes president would be to raise teachers' salaries, because I think that they have everything to do with the next generation of leaders and the next generation of Americans. The teachers are the people who influence us first, and I really want them to be happy so that they can believe in what they do. Furthering my education, I would love to do that in every way possible. And, you know, I think that taking online classes later in life would be a really good thing for me. Right now, it just didn't seem like the right decision to walk away from my music career and go away for 4 years and then try to come back. Go into a 4-year college. You know, I think that college is there so that you can become a well-rounded human being. You can learn to live on your own. You can take these classes, learn these lessons, and it makes you well-rounded. There's a part of me that thinks that being on the road and learning an entire industry, you know, meeting all sorts of people who run the music business and being around them and seeing how they think and learning how they got where they are, and meeting thousands of people every single week and developing those skills, I think that makes you a well-rounded person too. My favorite food changes like on a weekly basis. Right now, I like Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal. Like, it's always something random. Like, it was Cracker Barrel for a while. I had to have Cracker Barrel all the time. Then it was M&M McFlurries. Then it was Sour Patch Watermelons. Then it was Pop-Tarts. Now it's Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Okay. It'll be something different tomorrow. What makes me fearless? I think that my definition of the word fearless is not that you're not afraid of anything. It's not that you don't have fears. I think that being fearless is having a lot of fears, but jumping anyway. The first time I had to perform in front of a large crowd was when I was 11, and I got picked to sing the national anthem for a 76ers game. I lived in Pennsylvania, and it was like the thing to go to a 76ers game, and so everyone at school thought it was so cool that I got to go sing the national anthem. And I stood in the middle of this huge arena. There were 20,000 people there, and I sang the national anthem a cappella in front of all those people. I was so nervous, but you know, every single time you do that, it gets easier and easier. I think the biggest difference between this album and Fearless is that with Fearless, I wrote 8 of the songs by myself. So that's a big majority of them that I didn't co-write with anybody. So, you know, I think the reason for that is being on the road all the time. When I was making my first album, I was employed as a songwriter by Sony ATV Publishing, and my job was to co-write. But for Fearless, I was on the road. That was my job, on the road nonstop. And so when I would get a great idea for a song, I didn't have anybody around to write it with. I just wrote it myself. So a lot of people are saying that the album sounds more mature and that and things like that, but I really wasn't going for anything on this album other than just writing down my feelings and trying to record it as best as possible, because, you know, when I write a song, I hear it in my head, produced. Everything's there. And when I go into the studio, I co-produce this album, I really just try to convey that as well as possible to the band and to my co-producer Nathan Chapman. I think the most common theme on this album is just the contrast and comparisons between fairy tales and reality. The first single, Love Story, is basically your modern day fairy tale of what every single girl wants, you know, a guy to say, marry me, I don't care what anyone says, you know, you never have to be alone. I think that, you know, that's my ideal happy ending song. The song White Horse is the other song on the album that really conveys sort of the reality versus fairy tale, in that when we're growing up and we're little girls, we read storybooks and we think that Prince Charming is going to come and sweep us off our feet and put us on a pedestal, never take us off that pedestal. And that doesn't happen in reality. You know, I think that figuring that out is
a really hard realization when you're with somebody and the hardest moment of the breakup is realizing that all these dreams that you had about having your future with them and Christmases years from now with them and you know, all these things that you've built up in your head. The hardest moment of a breakup is when all of that comes crashing down and you realize that they're not your future, they're your past. And so I think everything from that moment on is recuperation. Everything from that moment on is getting over it. But the song White Horse is written about that moment where you realize that the guy that you thought was your Prince Charming really isn't. Trey Fanjoy directed this video, and she's directed all my videos in the past. And when we were on the Our Song video set, she was telling me about a treatment she was writing for this band. It was like a rock band, and they had a video coming up, and she was writing a treatment for the video to submit to them. And she was telling me about how she wanted to show these two parallel loves, but have one be modern day, have one be back in the 1800s or the 1700s. And she wanted them to basically represent soulmates and the fact that no matter where these people would have met in time, they would have ended up together. And that idea stuck with me. And so, you know, a year and a half goes by and I've written Love Story and I put Love Story out as the first single. And I said to Trey, I want you to direct this video and I want you to go back to that idea you had for that rock band. She was like, I never used it. They didn't pick that video treatment, so we can completely apply this to your video. So it was just really crazy how that came into play. I would say that's the sweetest thing that they could say to me, and that, you know, they're the people that make me happy when I'm having a really bad day and when I want to be somebody else, because I have those days too. And I think everybody has those days. Mm-hmm. You know, it's really so funny because some of the people that I think are the most beautiful, perfect people on the planet have a list of about 100 things about themselves that they would change. And so I think every person's like that. You know, whether you have albums out or whether, you know, if I was in college right now, mm-hmm. no matter what life you choose, you're always going to have insecurities. And when somebody says that they want to be you or somebody says that they look up to you, it really, really is one of the nicest things that anybody could say.
It's been awesome on my first headlining tour. I've never been happier. You know, opening up for people for 3 years, it's like you learn so many things that you'd love to do if you were ever to go out by yourself. And getting to incorporate all of those things into a show, it just makes me so happy. It makes me so happy to be out there knowing that every single person in the audience, you know, bought a ticket with my name on it. It's pretty exciting. 2 years ago I was 17 and I was on tour with Brad Paisley and opening up shows and playing for 25 minutes a night. And I don't know if I ever imagined that 2 years later I'd be playing a 2-hour show every night in front of giant sold out crowds. It's like, you know, I was always the person who never expected all this would happen to me. So this has been a very surprising year. Mm. Well, everything in my life has changed. Hopefully except the way that I view myself, because I feel like, you know, the perception of me has changed dramatically, even from people that I went to high school with or like my closest friends. They all kind of look at me differently now, but I just look at myself as the same person. You know, you're kind of like, wow, I've been this person all my life, and then all of a sudden it's exciting. Mm-hmm. And it's really cool to walk into public places like a mall or something like that and have it just go nuts. Mm-hmm. You know, like I used to dream about that when I was a little kid, but as far as like how I view myself, I never want that to change, because you can't believe in all the hype that people say about you. You're still just a person. So that's kind of always how I've looked at myself. My mom is very logical and very practical, and she's always like, now don't get too far ahead of yourself, you know, and one step at a time. And my dad is just going nuts out here, like handing out guitar picks. Hey, I'm Taylor's dad. Hey, good to meet you. Hey, here's a guitar pick. I'm Scott Swift, you know, and it's just hilarious. He's out there selling t-shirts at the merch stand. Oh, Dad's out again. Oh, they don't have my number anymore. But it's, you know, it's like the people that make your life hard when you're younger, if they didn't make your life hard, then you wouldn't have wanted to leave where you were to go where you are now. I never would have wanted to leave Pennsylvania and move to Nashville had I been invited to all the parties. So in a way you look back and you're like, thanks guys, I appreciate it. For me it's just never really been hard. I don't know, I've never had to battle with like the temptation of wanting to do any of that. So I feel like it's almost kind of weird that it's such a unique thing that I'm not a train wreck. You know, it's like, in all my interviews, it's like, so is it true that you are not drunk right now? I'm like, not that hard, guys. Like, you know, I'm 19. I'm not supposed to be doing that. And if I wasn't in this position, I wouldn't be doing it anyway. So it's just sort of like, I'm getting a lot of credit for something that's really easy for me to do. So it's really wonderful to be called a role model, and I take it very seriously, and I definitely factor it into all my decisions, but it's not that hard to say no to something for me. I've always wanted to tell a great story. Ever since I was little, that's always been what I've wanted to do with my life. And the way that I've done that so far is with music. But if I read a script that was a great story that I wanted to tell through acting, then I would definitely pursue it. I'm not shooting a movie right now or anything. I'm really, really busy with the tour. But, you know, if I read a script that just really I fell in love with, I would love to pursue it. I don't think so. I don't think I ever could have expected that it would just absolutely be #1 on the top 200 for like 11 weeks. I never thought that that would happen. You know, having written every song on the album and gotten to co-produce it, it's just really exciting to see something that you put everything that you have into do so well. You know, it took 2 years to make it. And, you know, I feel like it was really worth it to put that much time into it. Well, I mean, as far as writing a song about relationships, that's all I've ever done. The only thing that inspires me to where I can write so many songs about it and never get tired of writing songs about it is love. And, you know, the beginnings of love, when it's all the butterflies and magic and stuff, and then the end of it where you feel like you can't get out of bed in the morning. That's what I love writing songs about. And it's like, it's not like guys don't know what they're getting into. I've been very open and honest about it my entire career since I was 16 years old. It's like, I write songs about real people. If we date, you're going to end up being a character. You can choose whether you're going to be a good character or a bad character, choose why. Oh no, I mean, it's just a self-preservation thing. Like if you text a guy and he doesn't text you back, don't text him. Girls do that and they're like, maybe he didn't get my text. It's like, no, he got it. He just didn't text you back, so don't be desperate. Ever text twice in a row. Like, I never like to call or text twice. My role models are people like Garth Brooks and Faith Hill. I just love the fact that they're so nice to people and they're so good to their fans. You know, you grow up and you have your favorite singers, and then when you meet all of them, that list kind of shifts to the people who are great people first and great musicians second. I've always aspired to be a great person first. I've always felt like country tells the most detailed story, and it just spoke to me since I was little. When I was growing up, it was Dixie Chicks and Faith Hill and Shania Twain, and that's what made me fall in love with country. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of international stuff, going to Australia, going to the UK, going over to Europe, going to Canada. It's been really cool to get to go all over the world and sing my songs on stage and have people, you know, in a country I haven't ever been to before singing the words back to me. It's really cool. For me, you know, my life has gone a lot differently than it has for my friends. You know, my best friend, she's in college right now at Kansas, and she's studying journalism, and that's the life that she's chosen. For me, it doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, if I were to go to college, I would want to study music, and then, you know, after I would get out of college, I would hope to get a job in music, which I currently have. So to give up the job that you already have in music to go study to get a job in music, I've been lucky enough to skip a step. And of course, later on in life, I would love to take classes. I want to be as educated as possible. But leaving this tour, or leaving this life, or leaving the process of making this next album to go study how to do it, just doesn't really make sense to me. The next album, I already have like 9 or 10 songs recorded for, but I just want to keep going and make sure that it's something that I've really put a good 1.5 to 2 years into. Because I don't want to just hope that it's better than Fearless, I want to make absolutely sure that it's better than Fearless, because I never want to go back and just kind of be less of, I don't know, I just never want what I do next to not be as great as what I did before. So I'm going to put time and effort into it and make sure that it's something I'm even more proud of.
Well, I think for the first release, I was very fascinated with writing songs about relationships and boys and love, and that hasn't changed at all. So that's very similar on this new record. But for the first album, I wrote every song on the album, but a lot of them were co-writes. The majority were co-writes. And then for this album, the majority of them are songs I've written by myself. So 8 of the 13 are songs that I wrote by myself, and I'm really proud of that. And as far as maturing, vocally, material-wise, lyrics-wise, I mean, it's like, I guess it's something that I didn't really think about while it was happening, but you can't help but get 2 years older and sound a little more mature, I guess. But I'm just really proud of this record. Yeah, I mean, but I think that I've always worked really well with pressure. Pressure has always been something that has been sort of a fun challenge. I think that it would worry me if nobody really cared that we were putting out a second album and nobody was going, wonder if she'll fall on her face, wonder if it was a one album thing, I think it's really fun when people are watching to see what happens. I think just naturally the moment in the day when I get the most ideas is when I'm about to go to sleep, because from the time I wake up till that moment, I'm thinking about things nonstop. I'm thinking about what I need to get done that day. I'm thinking about, what decisions I need to make that are going to affect the whole, everything. So before I go to bed, that's the one time when I'm just thinking about ideas, and stuff usually hits me then. Falling out of love, definitely. Or when someone falls out of love with you and you have to deal with it, and all the things that go into that, all the different angles of that, all the different angles of a breakup. That's usually so interesting to me, that you can feel so many different ways throughout the day. You wake up and you feel one way, then it changes and you're feeling this way, and then it completely does a 180 and you feel that way. And I feel like that happens the most when you're going through a breakup. Well, I think that I've always kept a diary. And I look back on it sometimes and I read pages of it where I was like, if I could just get a record deal, I wouldn't need anything else. I would never ask for anything else. I just want a record deal. If I could just get that would be awesome. And it's just so crazy how once you accomplish one goal, you replace it with a new one. You accomplish that goal, you replace it with a new one. You accomplish that one. And, my diary now, it's like, I feel like I'm the same girl, but with a completely different schedule. Food I could eat every day. It changes. I go through phases where, I have a favorite thing. For a while, it was Cracker Barrel, and I would go and get biscuits and apple butter and breakfast, no matter what time of day it was. And now it's like Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal. I'm completely obsessed with it. It depends. My cat's kind of awesome, but we have a love-hate relationship. Some days she just walks up to me and won't stop meowing, and I'm like, "What's wrong with you? Why are you treating me like this today? I don't need that from you." But then some days she's really needy and clingy and cuddly. So on those days I'm a cat person. But on the days when she's being really moody, I'll just go up to one of my dogs, and they're always happy. They're always like, "What's up?" I think as far as guys, it's I don't really care if they like dogs or cats. It's as long as they're nice and funny and can make me laugh, I think that it's more about that. It's what their hair looks like, or how they dress, or what kind of car they drive, or if they're a cat person or dog person. It really doesn't matter, because if there's that core sense of humor that's compatible with you, and understanding and sweet and endearing, that you can put up with if they're a snake person. I don't know. I think that, the fun thing about that is that, a lot of people would say, I wish I hadn't dated him. I wish I wouldn't have dated him. But it's for me as a songwriter, you can have the most pointless relationship, and if you write a great song about it, it was worthwhile. So that's my favorite thing about being a songwriter. As far as my career, I wouldn't have done anything over. So I'm in a really good place. I'm really happy with the way things have turned out.
Hey, I'm Taylor Swift, and you're watching People.com.
There are these rumors going around on the internet today that they're very creative, saying that I'm pregnant, which is impossible. And
impossible. So, it's so crazy when you spend your entire life and all of your energy trying to be a good person and trying to be a good role model and trying to make the right decisions, and you make the right decisions, you make the right choices, and people make things up about you. It's a little offensive, honestly. I have devoted my entire life to not having something like that happen. And, it's really, really scary that someone can just say something and that it gets spread around the internet. And all of a sudden, it's a verified rumor. And with no grounds, with no evidence, I didn't do anything to provoke that. Like, I just, I'm sitting there thinking, like, what, did I wear the wrong shirt someday or what? Like,
It's such a tough age, 14, because that's when you feel like the only girls with boyfriends are the pretty girls, and the only girls with the most friends are the skinny girls. And you don't realize that, if you have something about yourself that makes you different, you should embrace that. I think when you get into the real world, even when you get into high school, you start to realize that. I used to hate my hair. All the popular girls had straight hair, and so I used to spend hours every morning. And, I put myself through just all the pain and the time and getting up 2 hours early before school just because I wanted to look like everyone else.
Yeah.
And at that time in my life, I didn't realize that if I had something that was different, that I should like it. I was 16. Yeah, so this was through a year of high school, and I just looked around and I realized, you know what? It's okay not to wear the same clothes that everyone else wears, and it's okay to not have the same hair that everyone else has. But, if you think about human nature, our favorite pair of shoes is the one we bought yesterday. Our favorite thing is the newest thing that we have, and if you think about the thing that we've seen the most and for the longest period of time is our reflection in the mirror. So obviously that's going to be our least favorite thing. I don't know. I think that, I've always loved music, and it's always been a love for music. I never actually thought that this would actually work out for me. So this is just a nice... My mom's amazing and my dad is amazing, and they're total opposites. My dad is a super fan who sells t-shirts at the merch booth. No, not really, because my mom... could care less how many records I've sold. But opposites. My dad's like, hi, nice to meet you. I'm Taylor Swift's dad. Nice to meet you. And my mom is the one who, before an award show, she'll be like, look, honey, you're not going to win this one. Well, I just think it's really fun to have a bunch of new friends now, all the girls that come to my shows and the girls that are waiting outside the radio stations and all those people that I've gotten to meet. It's like I consider those people my friends, and this has all just been like a dream come true. I am an ordinary person. I think it comes out March 9th. It's just fun. This is the first award show in a very long time that I'm just going to watch. Well, I've met my top two that I wanted to meet. I wanted to meet Duffy and Adele, and I met them at the Grammys. And they were really, really nice, so I was excited.
Hey, this is Taylor Swift on MSN Music. It's crazy because time passage is interesting. Some days I feel like it's been 10 years since my first single came out. Some days I feel like it's been 20 minutes since my first single came out. And it seems so crazy to me to think that we're putting out the second album and that it's finally here and that I get to be in these categories with these huge superstars, and it's really, really flattering. This album is the last 2 years worth of stories, and writing isn't something that I have to do for work, or I have to make myself sit down and write a song about this or that. It's just life happens to me and I write songs about it, and I have so many more songs than we put on this album that have happened in the past 2 years, but we just try to pick the best ones, and I'm really excited about there being 13 songs on this album, because 13 is my lucky number. And it's 2 more songs than were on the first album. I wanted to put more on this album. I'm a big fan of being very obvious and detailed and personal with my songs. It's something I like to do just personally for albums, like put a song on the album where somebody's name is mentioned and they have no idea that they're a song now. There's a song on the album called Hey Steven where I'm doing that. This guy has no clue that I wrote a song about him. And it's going to be really interesting when November 11th rolls around to get that reaction. Writing has been different for the past 2 years because writing for my first album, I was either in my bedroom or in a Nashville songwriting fixture, like some publishing company on Music Row, writing with great writers, and it was all very structured. But for this this last album, it's just been anywhere. I mean, I'll be in Arkansas and I get an idea for a song. I can't call up a co-writer and write it with them. Like, I have to write it by myself. So that's the reason why 8 of the 13 songs are written just by me. I don't have any co-writers on them. I'm having so much fun on stage, and there is this moment where during Shoulda Said No, my fiddle player and I have this drum battle on stage, and we're always saying stuff to each other, like back and forth. Like, I feel like it's always the best when we're both mad about something, because there have been some nights where I've just been like really blissfully happy, and I go on stage and I'm like, okay, I'm banging these drums, it's anger management, whatever. And my fiddle player is like going through a breakup and she's like, I hate him. And so lately it's been like, total anger management for us. It's been really awesome. Def Leppard is my favorite band. I'm so excited that I got to do Crossroads with them. And I was kind of going into it thinking, there's no way they're going to be cool. Like, they've got to be completely, they're huge superstars. There's no way that they're down to earth. I mean, right? And they come in and they're just so down to earth and so incredible. They're teaching me British lingo, and it was just so incredible. One thing I've learned about artists over the past couple years is that they're just people, And I mean, how many records you sell has nothing to do with you being like inhuman. I mean, they're people, and I'm really glad that they're great people, because I had a great time recording Crossroads with them. We've got nonstop promotion of the album and stuff until after my birthday.
Well, country was always what I was in love with. I was just naturally drawn to it. I got my first country album when I was 6, and that was the first LeAnn Rimes album. I was just absolutely in love with it and just really inspired by her and everything she did. And I think the moment came when I decided I wanted to be a country artist was when I was 8 years old and went to my first concert, which was the LeAnn Rimes concert, and I was like holding up this huge banner in the front row. It's like, I love you, LeAnn, like a stalker, and had sent her all these letters and this package of like drawings and pictures of me and stuff to her hotel room the night before. And I had a huge blonde fro when I was little, like it a lot bigger than it is now. So she recognized me in the audience and had actually taken time to like read my letters and stuff. And when she was going around shaking hands with people in the audience, she looked down and I was like, LeAnn, did you get my letters? And she goes, I sure did, Taylor. That was the moment where literally it all just clicked for me, that if I could ever make one little kid feel that way, or one person feel the way she made me feel, then it would all be worth it. Everybody who emails me, I really try hard to get to everybody's email, and it's really hard because you get so much input from people, and it's hard to write everybody back because there's not enough hours in the day. But meet and greets after shows. Yeah. I've been known to do meet and greets for 3 to 4 hours if I have time. Unless they're like pulling me off to get on a plane or something, I want to be there and meet everybody who I can possibly meet, because I really appreciate everything they're doing to help me just by being there. Online's cool because it really brings people together, that, it gives people an outlet to communicate with people. It's just really cool. CMA Music Fest was amazing, and nobody knew who I was at all. Like, I was just completely like a salesperson the whole time, because my single was about to come out in like 10 days, I think it was. And so we had these booths in the big convention center, and I was standing at a booth, and people would line up in front of the booth, and everybody who would go by, I'd be like, my name's Taylor Swift. I have a single coming out in 10 days. It's called Tim McGraw. Yes, it's called Tim McGraw. No, it's not about Tim McGraw. No, I'm not a stalker. It's called Tim McGraw, and all this stuff. Please request it on the radio. And, there was like one person who'd heard it and stuff. So, it was just so cool, because I still, people will show up at my shows with pictures we took at the CMA Fest. It's really cool to know that those people will remember you, because country fans are amazing. I came up with the concept to this song in math class one year and just started singing the hook to this song. So after school, this was during a period of time, I'd gotten a publishing deal when I was 14 with Sony and was writing every single day after school. Did that for about 2.5 years. And then, would come home at like 9 p.m. and do my homework and go to bed. So I went in to write after school and sat down at the piano and wrote this song in 15 minutes. And I never even thought about it for like 3 months, completely shelved it, and had no idea that people would be able to, relate to it the way that they are. So, this song was a complete accident. So I have not talked to him, I've never met him. It's just,
I didn't really write the song to get to meet Tim McGraw, but, you know, I've heard that he likes it, which is good. My agent went and played it for him for the first time, and the first thing he said was, I gotta go play this for Faith. He went and played it for her, and he came back and he was like, we love this song, but I don't feel like I deserve it. He was like, I'm not Georgia Jones. I'm not a legend. And I thought that was so cool. Been around for the majority of my life. You know, advice for aspiring songwriters, write down everything you see, but write down everything you feel. And, you know, you don't have to be in love or be in a relationship to write about it. And you don't have to necessarily have a boyfriend to write like you have a boyfriend or broke up with one don't have successful relationships. They're no fun to write about. Yeah, I mean, being a songwriter is what will differentiate you from the rest of the pack. Like I said, you know, Nashville is full of the most gorgeous girls. And it's so intimidating until you find something that is different about you, sets you apart. And if you're starting to write songs, then you're on the right track, and I commend you for that because you're awesome and you're already starting to think outside the box because I really respect other songwriters. Thank you. When people say that, I consider it probably the nicest compliment you could possibly give me. And, you know, I'll never admit to it because I grew up just like everybody else. Yeah. But, you know, I just think that I have the best job in the world, and I like to talk about it. Yes, I wrote this song when I was 12, and it was during that period of time that I was talking to you about when I wasn't accepted in school. And, you know, I'd wake up some days and not know if people were going to talk to me. And I had a really tough time of it, and I think it was because, you know, I sang country music, and I was taller than everybody else, and, you know, it just, I wasn't doing anything different or talking different or acting like I was better than anybody, but, you know, I found myself a lot of times just alone. So this is the song that was produced from that, and I think a lot of the songs that I've written have been produced from that feeling of being alone. Everybody else was gangsters. They liked pop, and I love good music. When people ask me what kind of music I like, I tell them I like great music, you know, and I think great music is not genre definable. And I think the best music is country music. Anything that's really great and lyrically strong and good, I'll listen to. But country music is what I love to sing. It's who I am, and, you know, that's just how it is. I love Miranda Lambert, and I'm going to go up to her at the CMAs and be like, okay, you don't know who I am, but I love you. Care if we're both blonde and play guitar, but I love you. And also Jake Owen has a really cool CD. She's awesome. And also Jack Ingram is amazing, and he's got some stuff coming out that's, like, going to blow your head off. It's awesome. Well, this is a song, before I play it live, I always tell people, first of all, I want everybody to know before I play this song that I really do try to be a nice person. But if you break my heart or hurt my feelings or are really mean to me, I'm going to write a song about you. Okay, well, the lyrics inside the CD jacket, and I don't know, but when I get a CD, that's the first thing I read, and the thank you section and everything. I want to, like, I'm just trying to find something about the artist that, you know, is personal, and I've tried to make this album really personal. And one of the things that I did was I encoded all these secret messages into every song lyric. And it sounds really complicated, but it's not. Like, all the letters are lowercase except for random capitalized letters all throughout the song. So if you're reading the lyrics and you're like, why is that A capitalized? It's because it's part of a code. And if you write down all the letters in order, if you're really bored, it's a rainy day or something, it'll spell out a code about the song, or just, you know, who the song's about, or a name of who the song's. Yeah, you can't download that. That was my idea. The Beatles did an album where if you played it backwards, back when they had records and stuff. Well, you know, back before they had records. You would play it backwards and it would say Paul is dead, and all these secret messages and stuff. And I can't really do that with CDs. But this was as mysterious and creepy as I could get. So I wouldn't be where I am today without my guitar. As unoriginal as that is, and how many people probably say that when they sit here, but I wouldn't be where I am today without my. You're gonna think I'm weird. I would be a cop. Did criminal justice 2 years, and I really like it. Like, I like law, but not enough to be a lawyer. So, and I like those shows where they've got, like, the dead body and they want to find everything. So, I'd want to be like a crime scene investigator. Probably not. This song comes from a guy who cheated on me and shouldn't have, because y'all should try to encode the message in that song. Because I Will Love You If You Will. I've written every song on it, and it's honest. And the lyrics, I think the lyrics are, you know, basically what are the strongest thing about this album, other than the fact that it's really personal. It's not like promo shot. It's like it's got snapshots in it, and you know, I've always tried to keep things really personal, so you might get to know me a little better. I think Keith Urban has had a great career. He didn't get thrust into it all of a sudden. He worked so hard to get where he is, and you know, just really did show after show after show after show, and didn't have any really like a TV exposure or anything that catapulted him into it. It was his music that purely got him where he is. Well, yeah, because I'm doing some in-store signings, and I think I'll definitely go like up and buy my own CD and see if the cash register person like looks up and sees if it's mine. I don't know, depending on who's calling, that'll be really interesting. Yeah.